So let's sit for the invocation. You can sit in swastikasana or virasana or padmasana or half padmasana. Choose a suitable seat for you. See that the roots of the thighs descend, the legs descend down, that you're not gripping or holding excess tension in the roots of those thighs and those inner groins. And then reach your arms down, lift up from the base of the spine to the crown of the head, release your shoulders down. And with that uprightness, so there's some effort required, right, to sit straight and tall. But then with those efforts in place, where can you soften, release, let go? Inhale, let's reach the arms up, tighten the elbows, extend from the side waist, the side ribs, the outer hips to the fingertips. And then take those arms down to shoulder height. Keep the upliftment of the side waist, also the horizontal spread of the chest out beyond the fingertips. And bend your elbows, fold your palms at your heart, close your eyes. Close the eyes completely. Feel the gap between your palms and fingers. And begin to weave together body, breath, and mind by turning the attention of your mind to your breath and body. Go for smooth, soft breath. Again, what efforts are required and what can you discard? Yogena chitasya padena vacham malam sharirasya chavaijakena yopa karotam pravuram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu prushakaram shankha chakrasidarinam Sahasra Shirsam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim Hari Om. Inhale, allow the chest to expand, uplift, allow for that buoyancy to come with the inhale from the inside out. And then bow your head, surrender your head to your heart. Release your hands to your thighs, palms facing up, and raise your head and open those eyes. Okay, good morning. Welcome, Jean. Welcome, Marion. So we're going to start off with horizontal bolster, Supta Baddha Konasana. So you are going to place the bolster horizontal ways on your mat. Now, up to you if you'd like to support the outer thighs. It's also up to you if you want to take support for your head. So it's fine to let your head arc back. Obviously, this is a back bend class, so we're doing this pose in preparation for back bends. But be mindful of what's suitable for your neck. So you don't want to overly shorten the back of the neck. You know, if it feels good to you to have the head go back a little bit, that's fine. And then also, I'll leave it to you if you'd like to support your outer thighs. So it's not going to be a long, long hold here. The other thing to have handy is have a belt handy. So we're going to be going straight from this pose into some Supta Padangusthasana poses. Okay, so let's get that set up. Also, feel free if you want to work unmuted, you're welcome to do that. I understand if you have a lot of background noise in your home and you don't want to do that, but just putting that out there that, you know, you're welcome to work unmuted. You're welcome to ask questions at any time. Good. Yeah. So buttocks on the floor. That looks good, Leah. Arcing over the bolster and let the head go back. You decide the appropriate support for your neck. So obviously nobody here is a beginner. I'm sure we've all practiced this many times. So you can decide what is helpful for you. Yes, and then that's, yeah, so that looks nice, Liat, because she's got the shoulders down. So she has a nice arc there throughout the whole spine, an opening of the front body. That looks good. Yeah, Marianne, Sherry, good. Good. All right, we'll have a little time here to settle in. So it's not a long hold today. I don't want you to get too sleepy, too tamasic, right? But use this as an opportunity to allow your front body to open, to allow the back body to come to the front body. And then allow this to be a do nothing pose, right? So you set the pose up and you just let go. You let the pose work on you. We'll do plenty of more effortful poses in this class today. So, we do have to apply the rajasic quality in our practices, especially in backbending classes. Some teachers say, and I resonate with this, that the fire element is most dominant in backbend. So they are fiery poses. That involves effort, it involves the rajasic qualities, but that doesn't mean we effort everywhere all the time. So this is part of developing skill in action. Effortless effort is understanding where to let go, when to let go. Okay, just a little bit longer here. Now a little food for thought for our practice today. I don't know if anybody else gets these little, what are they, like practice prompts or practice inspiration. It's the Prashnayantra email list. So they're from Prashant's teachings. I believe it's Srinit maybe that sends out the recording, not Prashant, or sends out the emails, not Prashant himself. But anyway, I'm going to share this, but it's based on Prashant's teaching. Studying the effect of one thing on another is a beginning of studying interconnectedness by starting with studying the connectivity between two aspects. I'll read that one more time. Studying the effect of one thing on another is a beginning of studying interconnectedness by starting with studying the connectivity between two aspects. So here, what's the relationship between back body and front body? And when you take an action, now here it's really the action of non-action. When you take a reaction, look for the response. So you act, you respond, observe, readjust, and reflect. And it's a continuous cycle that hopefully ultimately leads to a coming together, a sort of simultaneous awareness, an absorption, and a presence in the asana. Just a tiny bit longer here. Okay, now, hopefully we all have room to the head side. If you don't, like I think Sherry, you're gonna have to adjust, but that's fine. So you're going to now move that blanket from behind your head, put it off to the side. You can just put the blankets off to the side, you don't need them. And then look here, so you're going to shift now up onto the bolster. So your pelvis is on the bolster, your shoulders are on the floor, and then we're going to take a variation of Supta Padangusthasana. So you're going to take a belt and loop it around your foot. So actually, I need to be a little bit further away from my wall here. So you want to have room to extend your arms overhead. So make sure you have plenty of space behind you, really on all sides of you. So you're going to take that belt. I'm showing with my left foot, but you're going to do with your right foot. And then you're going to loop that belt around your foot and extend your leg up to the ceiling for Supta Padangusthasana 1. Right leg is extended out straight. And then with some movement, you're going to take that leg overhead. Okay? So straight legs, pelvis up on the bolster, the belt loops around the foot, Supta Padangusthasana 1. So first, just get your 90-degree angle. First, get this 90-degree angle for Supta Padangusthasana 1. Yeah, we'll go together here. So first go for a static pose. Now, of course, static externally, right? But all the things you adjust internally. And then with each adjustment you make, look for the response. So you act, that action produces some kind of response, observe the response, and then readjust if needed. Okay, both legs straight. Now, as much as you're paying attention to that up leg, that straightness of the up leg, also what's happening with the down leg, why might this be a beneficial pose to prepare for back bends? So take that down leg, take that frontal thigh down, take the muscle to the bone on the frontal thigh, take the root of the thigh down, and then extend that left leg, inner groin to inner heel, so that down leg gets longer. Both legs straight, quadricep muscles, skin, flesh, grip to the bone, and then with movement, start to take that up leg overhead, allow for some movement, so you can walk the hands up the belt in the way that makes sense for you, allowing for your mobility, and then get some motion here in that leg. Now, hamstring injury, be careful with this. You probably want to work with the leg just upright and not do this kind of motion. So be careful with that if you have a hamstring injury. Okay, now take that belt. You're going to loop it now. I'll do the same leg as you all. So you're going to take that belt and loop it behind your neck, and then you're going to hold that belt out to the left. I think probably a lot of you have done this at some point over time. So that belt goes behind your neck. You hold the belt with the left hand, and then that left leg is still straight. So keep that left leg really straight. Even if the heel pops up off the floor, straighten out, iron out that left leg. And then take that right leg out to the right for Supta Padangusthasana 2. Even take your left leg a little bit over to the left. So you really get that opening of the left inner groin, the left frontal groin, and iron out that left leg. Don't let it bend up. I don't care if the heel comes off the floor. We're going with maximum extension of all limbs. So pelvis is up on the bolster, right leg is out to the right. Okay, inhale, bring that leg up. Remove the belt. Now take a moment here, slide the right leg down to meet the left. If you need to adjust yourself on the bolster, do that. So I actually slid a little bit to my head side, so that way my top buttocks moved away from the lumbar spine and my low back lengthened. So make those adjustments. Get both legs straight. Go ahead and extend both heels on the floor for a moment. I know it's the Setu Bandha, which we don't normally do at the beginning of class, but that's fine. We can do this with a spotlight here on the hips and on the groins and on the frontal thighs. Okay, and then change over. Take the left leg up, Supta Padangusthasana 1. So first go for that static position with the leg so that you get the legs fully straightened. So you're looping the belt around the foot, holding the arms over, holding the belt overhead with the arms. And first work on getting truly straight legs here. So that down leg, that right leg, have it straight. I think everybody can get the heel on the floor, but prioritize the straightness and the extension of the leg. Even if the heel comes up, it's fine. Okay, good. And then with movement. So here you can walk the hand up the belt a little bit if you need, and then start to bring some movement into that leg. Again, if the hamstring's injured, you may want to skip this part. And as you bring that right, that looks really good, Marianne. Good, straight legs. Yeah, as you bring that left leg toward you, yeah, nice, Jean. Keep extending out through that down leg. Iron out that down leg. So that right leg, that frontal thigh. Minimize any puffiness of the quadricep, but take that root of the thigh down. So something, I was taking a class with Patricia Walden last Friday afternoon, and something she said is, you know, sometimes when your mind is a little, let's just say ruffled or disturbed or agitated, maybe stressed, working with motion can actually be helpful. You know, sometimes we think we want stillness, and that can be good, but sometimes motion can actually help break up that pattern. Okay, take the leg out to the side. So loop the belt behind your neck, hold with the right hand, and then take that left leg out to the left for Supta Padangusthasana 2. Now, as you do that, take that right heel slightly out. So that right heel line it up with the outer edge of your mat. And then reach, as much as you're reaching through the left leg, inner groin to inner heel to outer hip, also reach to that right leg. Notice that length that comes into that right frontal groin area, right inner groin area. And give yourself, I'm giving you a little space here so that you can adjust. You can extend both legs, inner groin to inner heel to outer hip, tighten the knees, roll the pelvis left to right. So adjust, act, and then observe the response. Okay, inhale, bring that leg up. Go ahead and remove the belt. Slide the left leg down to meet the right leg. And then let's slide off the bolster and come into Adho Mukha Virasana. So we're going to go from Adho Mukha Virasana, downward facing hero pose, to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. So anything you need for either of those poses, go ahead and get. It won't be long holds, but if there's anything you need to have handy, then you can of course have that. And that's at any point in this class too. You know, you're all experienced practitioners, so you don't need to ask to get a prop or to modify. If there's something that you know will benefit you, just take it. That's it. So descend the hips down, reach the arms forward. Let's go with active arms here. So we're preparing for back bend. So you want to start to bring some life, some activity into the shoulders, into the middle back. Hips descend, relax your abdomen, and reach those arms way far forward. Unfurl the side waist, unfurl that front body. Okay. Now minimize any lifting of your head. Obviously, you have to bring your back body up a little bit to come into downward dog, but don't tense the back of the neck to do this. Come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Good. Yeah. So straight away, as much as you can, make it a direct passage, a direct transition to downward dog. Take plenty of distance between your hands and feet. You can take hands to the wall. You can take feet at the wall. That's fine. Take plenty of distance so you can maximize the length of your spine. Maximize the length of the side waist. Good. Okay, now keep your head down. Keep the back of the neck relaxed. Take your heels up high. Heels up high. Lift the outer hip. Watch what happens to the middle upper back. See how it goes in. Everybody's spines look very nice and extended here. And then keep that action of the middle upper back going in with the elbows straight and slowly lower the heels down. Yeah, good. Okay, one more time. Heels up high. Keep the back of the neck relaxed. Watch what happens to that middle upper back. Take your thoracic spine in without collapsing in the elbows. So keep that lift from the outer heel of the hand up through the outer armpit area, and then slowly lower the heels down. And also keep that height of the outer corners of the hips. Okay, good. Walk your hands to your feet, Uttanasana. So hands to feet, Uttanasana. Be in the legs. Start with concave spine, Uttanasana. Be on the fingertips. Legs straight up and down. Drop on the quadriceps, drop on the knees, take the upper back in, and then maximize that length from the outer hips to the armpits as you release your torso and head down into your full expression of Uttanasana for now. Everybody go ahead and grab hold of your calves, widen your elbows out to the side, and then extend from the outer hips up into the armpit chest, lengthen that side waist, and then draw yourself down into that Uttanasana. So you're maximizing the length of the spine, of the side waist, and then eventually let that head go. Let the head soften. So you don't want to be holding tension in your head to do this. Okay, good. Straight legs to come up. Just where you are, stand up in Tadasana. Be there for a moment. You don't have to turn to face the screen. Give yourself that moment to stand up straight and tall. Spread the soles of your feet. Cut the outer shins in. Cut your outer hips in. and then ascend, lengthen from the side waist to the armpit chest. So this extension and length in the torso is important for back bending. So we want to get length and space before taking that spine in, right? Okay. Adho Mukha Vrikshasana, handstand or downward facing tree pose. If you are not doing that, you can do Ardha Uttanasana, or even you could do downward dog, some kind of supported downward dog. So legs in the rope or head supported, heels at the wall. The other option here is Ardha Uttanasana, so hands at the wall, waist high, feet hip width, and walking back. So this is a good alternative for Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. Okay, those who are coming up into the pose, actually look here for a second before you do. So I want you to watch how you work with your head in this initial go at Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. So we're going to start fairly close to the wall for this one, so several inches from the wall. Now, of course, watch the foundation of the pose. So press to the circumference of the palms, arms straight, walk in, walk in, walk in. Get those shoulders up over the wrist. Straight arms. Don't let the elbows bend. You can even belt the arms if you need. And then when you kick up, you're going to watch your foot as you kick up. So that down leg has to bend, of course, right? And then as you kick up, watch that leg that kicks up. So I'm going to do that one more time. Rather than looking at the floor, watch the foot as it kicks up. And then look to the middle of the room, heels up, and then you can take the head down. Okay? So let's go ahead and give that a go. Of course, you can modify if needed, and if you're not doing the full pose, that's fine. But if you are kicking up, watch your foot as you kick up and watch what are the effects when you do that. Okay, so get set. Yeah, few inches, several inches from the wall. Take your time. That's it. Yeah, and then when you're up, heels up the wall. Extend inner groin to inner heel, outer heel to outer hip, and then you can look to the floor, but don't let the heels scrub down the wall. So keep those heels extending up. Okay, and then go ahead and come down. And if you picked up easily with the first leg, try with your second leg. And watch what are the effects when you look at your foot when you kick up. So how is that, if you don't normally do that way, just notice what's the difference. What are the effects when you watch that foot as you kick up? Perhaps certainly the back of the neck will stay longer, right? Yeah, keep those elbows fixed and firm, kick up from the root of the thighs, walk in, don't try to kick from way far back. So walk in so you get the hips high, the shoulders up over the wrist. Yeah, good. And then be there, firm, press the circumference of the palms into the floor, firm the elbows, lift up through the heels, maintain that, and then look to the floor. Elbows towards the wall, shoulders away, tailbone up. Okay, and then come on down. Take Tadasana, recover in Tadasana. Even standing. Equal spread on the soles of the feet. I liked Abhijata used the expression, the carpet of the feet. So unfurl, spread the carpet of the feet so there aren't any wrinkles. Outer shins in, outer hips in. From outer hips to armpit chest, ascend. Okay, we're going to do one more variation of Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. Now this is just kind of for play, for fun, to work with the balance a little bit. So I'll show you. This is fine from this angle. Okay, so you're going to start to come away from the wall a little bit for this one, but you're going to be within a range where you can still touch your foot to the wall. Okay, so when you walk in, watch the foundation of the pose. So watch that you're not kicking from back here. This is actually much more difficult, but walk in, walk in, walk in. So you get those shoulders up over the wrist, even shoulders in front of the wrist. And then from here, you're going to kick one leg up and over till you touch the wall. It's like an exploratory mission here, right? So if you've never done this before, maybe start closer to the wall. And then from here, can you start to work with the balance by scissoring the legs and switching over? Okay, I'll show it one more time. So you're going to scissor the legs, and somewhere in the middle of that, maybe you can catch a second of balance. Okay, let's give it a try just for fun. If this is newer to you, start closer to the wall. You're going to kick up with one leg, just take a little exploratory mission there, and just give it a go. If that is not for you today, let's have you start working with some of the shoulder poses then. So you can work with Urdhva Baddha Angulyasana. We're not going to be doing this for long. You can work on Gomukhasana arms, Garudasana arms. So you can work with some of the shoulder poses if this is not for you today. Yeah. And then if you give this a go once and you're like, okay, the wall was very close, then try moving a little bit further from the wall. Yeah. And when you scissor the legs, is there a split second in there where maybe you can start to balance with the two legs together? Yeah, nice. Elbows firm. Up to you if you want to look to the floor or to the center of the room. You can decide. That's it, Sherry. And then as you get more confident, Sherry, you can start to move away from the wall. Yeah, so don't even worry about taking those legs together initially, but allow just that one leg to go back. So see, I'm counterbalancing with the other leg forward. So you don't have to take both legs to the wall initially. Allow just that one leg to go. Press to the palm, tailbone up, and then maybe for a split second there, you can balance. And you don't even have to worry about the balance right away. You could work on just scissoring the legs. Just get comfortable with this. Okay. I'm giving it just a little bit longer for folks who are exploring this. Yeah, if you're choosing not to do this, if this is not for you, you can work on the shoulder poses. These are all great poses to work on. Okay. All right, I think we've petered out on that one. All right, let us take, let's take a variation of Warrior One here. So everybody can do this. Everybody get a chair, put it over at the wall, put a bolster on top of the chair, and then look here. You're going to take your right foot up on that bolster. The left foot, it's like the back leg in Warrior One, right? So the toes are slightly turned in, hands on the hips, and then you're going to get some motion here, back leg straight, bend, and straighten that front leg a few times. So going for length on that back leg frontal thigh. So it's a variation of Warrior One. Okay, so let's all come into this pose. So have the chair at the wall, the bolster on top of the chair. And then that back leg, that left leg, is just like a Warrior One leg. The toes are slightly turned in. Yep, take plenty of distance. So have that back leg, you can see how my leg is sort of back behind me. Yeah, so you get lots of distance because we want to go for some opening here in the groins and the frontal thighs. And then hands on the hips. Let's all do this together. Hands on the hips. Now lift up, take the upper back in, lift up the side waist, keep the sacrum in, tailbone in, and then bring those hips forward and bend that front leg and straighten. And a few times here, working with motion, that's it, good. And as you come forward, keep the sacrum in, keep the tailbone in. So don't let yourself hang in the hips and groins, but keep those outer hips in firm. Good, okay, change sides. Yeah, so careful not to, this is an important component here, especially for anybody who works on let's say those Ekapada Rajakapotasana poses. You don't want to let yourself hang in the groins, but keep those outer hips in. So those outer hips coming in is very important. So we don't overdo the stress on the groins. All right, take the hands to the hips, back leg straight, and then bend and straighten that front leg a few times. Keep reaching through that back leg heel, back leg fixed and firmed, inner knee tight. Feel those outer hips coming in. Okay. All right, good. And then release. Tadasana. Legs together to make the two legs like one leg. Spread the carpet of the feet. outer shins in, outer hips in, ascend, lift up, outer hips to armpit, chest, shoulders down. Okay, now we're going to take another variation of warrior one. So look here. We're going to do away with the chair. You're going to have your left heel at the wall, the outer heel at the wall, the right leg forward. Now here, watch what I do here. I'm taking my hands to the top buttock, and then I'm drawing that top buttock down. So this is an important action. I'm drawing that top buttock down so I get length in the lumbar spine, and then also length and lift in the front body. And then from here, you're going to take those arms up and reach up and back to the wall. So I don't care if you touch the wall or not with your fingertips, but the action is that you're reaching up and back to extend your fingernails to the wall. Maybe you'll touch, maybe you don't. And then you're going to keep that reach of the fingernails reaching to the wall and then bend that front leg for an exaggerated back bend warrior one. Okay, speak up if you have questions. Your turn. Let's go ahead and do this together. Step that left heel back, outer heel with the wall, right leg forward. Take plenty of distance. I think you could go with a little more distance, Sherry, for your legs. Take plenty of distance between the two legs. Now, everybody, take your hands to that, to your sacral area, so top of the buttock, and then draw that down. Watch what happens to your lumbar spine. Watch what happens to your front body when you do that. So draw that top buttock down away from your lumbar spine, and then reach those arms up, straight elbows, straight legs. Now take the back ribs in and up to reach up and back toward the wall. So you're not collapsing, but it's up and back. Good. Keep that reach and then bend your front leg and come into this exaggerated back bend warrior one. You have back ribs in and up. Keep reaching up and back toward the wall. Don't forget to breathe. Okay, good. Come on out, change sides. Yeah, good. Yeah, so I saw that everybody was working with extension there, which is good, that you weren't letting yourself collapse in the low back or be in a hurry to touch the wall, because it's not about that. We're after creating, yes, that back bending quality, but it's called back extending, right? Back extensions, we should call them, it's a back extension class, not a back bending class. Hands on the hips, top buttock down, frontal hips up. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, back ribs in and up to reach those fingertips towards the wall, and then maintain and bend that front leg. So you're coming into an exaggerated back bend, warrior one. Elbows straight, elbows firm. Reach the arms from the sideways. Okay, good. And then come on up. Okay, let's turn around, put your hands at the wall for downward dog. So split your hands at the wall. Don't have the fingers together. So have the thumb and index padding at the wall and come into downward dog. Yeah, Leah, you can take your legs back a little further. Yeah, and then watch what are the effects of having the hands at the wall. I think Sherry also, you can step the legs back a little bit and everybody inner heels back. And what does that do for you to have the hands at the wall? Take the legs way back. Notice the effects on your shoulder blades. So you take an action and then you observe the effects. And then if you adjust, you adjust. And then you observe and you reflect again. Okay. Walk your hands to your feet. And then let's set up, let's take Shirshasana, head balance. If you are not doing Shirshasana, you can do either Supta Virasana or chair Dvipada Viparita Dandasana. So either back bend through the chair, you can take head support if you need, or Supta Virasana. And otherwise, you can come into Shirshasana, either in the middle of the room or at the wall. And we'll do just one variation in Shirshasana today. We'll take Parshva Shirshasana. So you can be at the wall or in the middle of the room for that. Okay, go ahead and come up when you're ready. An alternative is Supta Virasana, or back bend over the chair, or back bend over a back bender if you have that. Yeah, watch your foundation as you come into the pose. So get that firm foundation, just like we worked on in Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. Now here you're pressing the outer wrist, pressing the forearms. See that you're not white knuckling those hands, but that the fingers are fully interlaced, but there should be a little bit of a relaxed quality of the hands. And then with the outer wrist pressing, the forearms pressing, lift up through the upper arms, shoulder blades up, hips up, tailbone up, buttocks up. And I'm giving you a moment just to get your balance, get your bearings in your Shirshasana. From Guruji here, Light on Life. The endless process is breath, cognitive reflection, corrective reaction, reappraisal, and action. Eventually, this process blends together in such a manner that we discover we have pulled ourselves into the present moment. No past, no future, but action and right perception soldered together in a peerless moment. So what is that cycle? What is that cycle? Breath, cognitive reflection, corrective action, reappraisal, and action. And over time, as we become more experienced, can that cycle almost become like it's occurring at the same time? It's simultaneous. So you don't have to act and then give a big pause to observe, but it's action and reflection, action and observation, that cycle becoming shorter and shorter. So it comes together into a more integrated and full moment. Okay, a little bit longer straight pose, not a long hold today. Not a long hold today. I don't want to exhaust you in Shirshasana, but just something to note that if you are interested in working on back bends, which I think everybody here is, a lot of the way we get our strength in our back bends, our strength in our back body, is through inversion. So Shirshasana, and especially actually Sarvangasana, builds up that strength in the back body to back bend. Now, that doesn't mean you need to do long inversions on the days you back bend necessarily. You have to modulate your efforts, right? But just over the course of your practice, these are good poses to work on. Yeah, and you can take Prasarita Padottanasana or a supine pose if the Shirshasana becomes too much. I'm going to join you for a moment here. Okay. Now, for folks who are in Shirshasana, we're taking Parshva Shirshasana. So watch that press of the forearms, the outer wrist. Keep that equal press of the outer wrist, the forearms, outer hips in. From navel to feet, extend, and then turn, keeping those legs as one unit, so the two legs as one leg. From the navel to the feet, turn to the right. So cut that left hip around to the right, keep the feet together. Keep that right outer deltoid coming forward, and then from the navel to the feet, from the hips, turn to the right. Keep the head in the center. Turn those hips more, outer buttocks in. And then come back to center. Reestablish that midline, that straight Shirshasana, hips up. Let the abdomen soften because this will actually allow you to extend more fully in the pose. Extend those legs up. And then press the outer wrist down, press the forearms down, outer hips in, thighs in, and from the navel to the feet, turn to the left. From the navel to the feet, turn to the left, cut that right hip around, cut that right outer thigh round. Don't let the left shoulder collapse. Yeah, don't let the feet go back. So feet a little bit forward. It looks like your feet are going back a bit, Marianne. Feet forward, cut the hips around. And then back to center. Extend up from the outer hips to outer heels, inner groins to inner heels, tailbone in. And then if you have it in you, one more time. Otherwise, you can come down and rest Adho Mukha Virasana. Otherwise, one more time, Parshva Shirshasana to the right. So get the hips to move. Cut that right. Okay, I think I'm losing everybody. All right, I'll take the other side so that I'm not uneven. And then let's all come to Adho Mukha Virasana. Okay, Adho Mukha Virasana. So anyway, we have to obviously respect the limits of our body. Don't overstay in Shirshasana, not a good idea. But it is good, where and when possible, to work on building up your time in the inversions. Reach the arms forward, rest your head down, Adho Mukha Virasana. Okay, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog to release your neck. Press to the palms, draw the hips back, relax at the base of the skull. Also relax your abdomen, thighs back, and then watch what does that do to your spine? What does that do to your side waist? So it's studying the connection between two things, right? Thighs back, abdomen soft. Well, actually there's a third then, and then what happens to your spine and side waist. Okay, walk your hands back. Briefly, Uttanasana. Okay, and then come on up, Tadasana. Okay, how's everybody doing? Good? Okay, good. Excellent. Let's keep moving along then. I don't want you to get cold. So everybody get a chair. We're going to back bend over the seat of the chair. But we are going to do in a particular way. So get your chair, put a sticky mat on the chair, and then watch. So we're doing this in preparation for Urdhva Dhanurasana, and which we're not going to do right away after this chair pose, but we're going to come back to later in the class with any luck. So this is in preparation for Urdhva Dhanurasana, spotlighting the middle upper back, the thoracic spine. Okay, so look here. You'll keep your knees bent because in Urdhva Dhanurasana 1, your knees are bent. They're not straight legs. That's Urdhva Dhanurasana 2. Knees bent. Hold the backrest of the chair and then lift the buttocks up and get some motion here for that upper back area. So I have, I suppose I would say my upper shoulder blade area. My upper shoulder blade area is hooked over the seat of the chair. I'm using my hands here to press, and then I press on the heels, tailbone in, lift the buttock up. And then can you get yourself to move and lever over that backrest of the chair? So getting some motion for the upper back. Okay, your turn. See if you can get your butt up off the seat of the chair. Yeah, and if this is totally not possible for you today, then, you can, well, at least just try. Let's just try to get the butt up, right? Activate those muscles, heels down, tailbone in, middle buttock in. Let's just try to get that buttock to lift up because that's important to keep that strength in the lower body and opening in the front body. Okay, your turn. Go ahead and come on in, give this a go. Let's see. Yeah, press into the heels. Can you get your butt to lift up? Get that buttock to lift up. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and give it a go and release and give it a go and release. Yeah, that's it. There you go, Leah. Yeah, good. So you're getting some motion, breaking up some of that stiffness in the upper back, the shoulder blade area. Okay, everybody come out. Now we're going to do with support and holding. So still the legs are bent. Take either a folded blanket or you can take a block, and you're going to put this at the back of the seat of the chair, and this is for your pelvis. So now we're using a support to help create that arc of the hips higher and the thoracic spine, the shoulders coming down. So we start to get more verticality in the chest, which is important for back bending, for Urdhva Dhanurasana, and for Dvipadavi Dhanurasana. So pelvis up on the height, still knees bent, and then you'll place the tops of the shoulder blades on the chair seat and just rest here. And then you can slide out a little bit further, middle shoulder blade. And then, we'll go ahead and straighten the legs, then straighten the legs and take the arms overhead. Okay, but get some kind of support there for your pelvis. Even if you do need to take the feet up on a height, that's fine. Yeah, don't straighten the legs yet. Just be there with the legs bent, top of the shoulders on the edge of the chair seat. So even if you need to support your feet here, that's fine, because still then you're working with that relationship of getting the hips up higher than the shoulders. So it's not a flat-lined pose, if that makes sense. So don't be afraid in your practices to work with trying all kinds of different supports on the seat of the chair when you do your back bending. It's good to experiment. There's so many different ways you can put blankets, bolsters, blocks, things on the seat of the chair. So experiment with this so you can observe the effects of different support. So you're not just doing this kind of flattened out chair back bend. Okay, and then if you haven't done so already, slide off. So the middle shoulder blade is hooked on the seat of the chair. Let your head relax, let the head go. Jawline soft, eyes soft. And then press into the heels. Use those, the glutes, the buttock muscles grip in, right? Tailbone in. And then you push off and slide off. So the bottom corners of the shoulder blades are hooked on the chair seat. So watch that action. How is it that you slide off the chair? If you're sliding and not wriggling, you have to use the lower body to slide off the chair. Okay, and then from here, extend one leg out at a time, heels down, toes up, iron out that frontal thighs. Haven't you heard that instruction earlier in class, right? Iron out the frontal thighs. Take those frontal thighs down. If I was there, I would grab hold of your frontal thighs and roll them in and press them straight down to the floor. And then take the arms overhead, palms up, and just rest the backs of your hands on the floor. Maximum extension. Reach out through those legs, through those heels, frontal thighs down. And then let that upper body rest on the chair seat. So that chair seat molds that upper back and draws the upper back in. And don't forget to breathe. What are the effects on the front body? So the abdominal area, the frontal hips, frontal groins. You don't have to do anything there, but how is that front body acted upon by the actions of the back body? A little bit longer here. Isn't it lovely? We could just stay here the rest of the class, huh? Okay, and then bend your knees, use your hands as support, press the elbows into the seat of the chair, take your back body to the front body, use your hands, and sit up, and just be there for a moment. Give yourself time to absorb, digest, reflect. Okay, and then carefully step out of the seat of the chair. All right, assuming we're all fine and there are no questions, let's prepare now for some prone back bending. Yeah, and if you do have any questions, feel free to speak up. Okay, otherwise, let's prepare for some prone back bending. So open out a sticky mat. If you'd like to take some, so we will be doing Dhanurasana. So if you need any support for your frontal hip bones, have that. And then lie face down. So if you got there quickly, you can take a moment to adjust your legs. You can extend one leg at a time.
But I do have a question.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah. Please, please.
So I feel my lower back, and usually in Dvipada, I don't feel it. I think it was the blanket underneath me.
Yeah.
And I have a very flexible over, lumbar curve. So would you suggest something else in the future?
Yeah.
I need more like middle and upper back. This is my, my weakness.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know what you're saying. And I have a similar type of scenario. I found that sometimes having a firmer support there can be more helpful, like even trying to block can be helpful. Because what we're after, even though I know that I understand what you're saying, that you want to get more, it's like you need to work more with the upper back area, right? But at the same time, it's like what we're after with that sacral support is really getting more of the opening of the pelvis. So it's not so much the lumbar, but really getting this opening here through the frontal thighs.
Which I felt, but I felt also the lower back.
Yeah, also the lumbar. Yeah, I would say number one, try a firmer support. You could also just work a little bit, and that can take care of it. Sometimes I find that to be less achy on the low back and on the sacrum, just having like a block or something firm rather than the blanket. You can also work on kind of exactly where that support is positioned, where is just moving it down a little bit or up a little bit can make a difference. I would start with that and then kind of play with it from there. Yeah.
And I know I'm tight here, so it's of course related. So I felt the openness there, which is good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you're right to observe that. Yeah, it's like obviously if there's restriction in the we'll just say kind of hip flexors, frontal groin area, or if there's restriction in the thoracic spine, obviously then what's going to take the load, it's the lumbar spine, which I'm sure you know. So figuring out ways to get that opening there. You could even try supporting the lumbar spine as well. It seems odd, but I have even had, because I'm similar to you, my lumbar spine is very flexible, and I've had to work over time to get more opening in the thoracic and in the groin area. But, I've even had a teacher tell me, and it seems odd, but to actually even support that lumbar spine. So, well, I'll just show without the support first and you can see. So like if I lie back in this pose, there's a arch here. I don't know if you can see with my black shirt, it's not the best, but I have a space between my back and between the chair seat. So you can even take something and fill that in. And it seems sort of counterintuitive, right? Because it's like, why would you be supporting that area when it's already up? But actually what it does is it allows that area to relax. So then you're not overdoing there. So, maybe this is even better for you to work with, or you could try this with the pelvis raised as well and experiment with that.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Yeah. So little food for thought. Yeah, I know. There's so many different ways we can work with supports on these chairs. And I think it's good to experiment and become familiar with all these different ways of working and what are their effects. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take Ekapada Bakasana. So be face down. And then, of course, what I was sharing with Liat, that's for everybody too. It's not just for her. So, depending on your body, the curves of your spine, you can experiment with taking different types of support underneath the pelvis, even try a folded blanket underneath the lumbar spine. There's the lengthwise fold that you can do, which helps to take the thoracic spine in. So many ways. Okay, one leg at a time, lift that leg up and reach back through all 10 toes, really. Extend the inner groin to the inner heel. So lift that leg, extend the frontal thigh to the knee, and then take that foot down, and then change over, take the left leg up, reach back, tighten the knee, and as you reach back, make that inner leg long, and then when you put that foot down, roll the thigh from inside out. Okay, Ekapada Bakasana. So come up onto your left forearm. Now don't twist to do this pose. So there's a little bit of a turn in the upper body, but really minimize any twisting. Keep both frontal hips down. Bend up your right leg and just don't even hold the foot yet. Bend up that right leg and extend. Can you even slide that right knee away from your head? So you extend from the frontal thigh to the knee. So this extension and length from the frontal thigh to the knee, this comes into a lot of poses. Think about what other poses do we do this? And then reach back, hold on to the inner foot, keep the outer hip to outer knee alignment, and then you're going to bend your elbow. That elbow points towards your spine, towards the middle body, and then you're going to turn that elbow up to the ceiling. If you can, get the heel of the hand on the toes, elbow up, so it's like a chaturanga dandasana arm. Head up, chest forward, lift up bottom sternum to top sternum. Work to get that heel on the outer buttock and extend from the frontal thigh to the knee. So those front thighs become longer. And the more that we do get these front thighs to lengthen, the groins to open, the thoracic spine to move, then the less burden we'll be placing on that lumbar spine and on that more flexible part of the back. And then release, change over. Left leg. So hold on to the inner foot. Keep the outer hip to outer knee alignment. And then that elbow bends. It comes in towards the spine. It turns up to the ceiling. Heel in line with the outer buttock. So heel touching the outer buttock. Press, use the heel of your hand to press the toe mounds down. And then extend from the frontal thighs to the knees. Chest up, upper back in. Okay, and then release, right side. And go ahead and come into the pose. I'm not going to give you all the instructions here. You know what to do, but do keep the head up, thoracic spine in, frontal hips down. Extend as you draw that heel down, extend from the frontal thigh to the knee. And then release, left side. Outer hip to outer knee alignment. Don't twist. Thoracic spine in. Lift the chest. Okay, release. Straighten the legs out. Fold the arms. Rest the head in the backs of your hands. Take one leg at a time and extend that leg out. Roll the thigh inside out, and at the same time, extend from the frontal thigh to the knee. So make those frontal thighs longer. Okay, Dhanurasana. Bend your knees. Now, with the knees bent, before you go back to clasp your ankles, with the knees bent, just lift up one thigh at a time. So the hamstring draws into the buttock, and you're extending from the frontal thigh to the knee. So pick that leg up and put it down. And then pick the other leg up. Extend frontal thigh to the knee. Tuck that hamstring into the buttock. Okay. Inhale. Exhale. Reach back. Hold the front ankles. Now, don't let those heels wander in. So inner ankle to outer ankle. Keep the integrity of the feet. Inner ankle to outer ankle. Inner heel to outer heel. And then grip where the hamstring meets the buttocks. Grip. And then lift those legs up in the air. Lift the legs up, chest up, toenails up to the ceiling. I want to see your thighs lift up off the floor. So where the hamstrings meet the buttock, grip there, lift there. Okay, release. Go ahead and release. Okay, let us take a little bit of support underneath the knees. So in Dhanurasana, we want those thighs to get up. So not a big support. Let's just take like a tri-folded blanket. So, ultimately in Dhanurasana, you want the knees to be in the same line with the shoulders. So let's take a tri-folded blanket underneath the knees, and then we'll repeat. So to encourage these legs to come up a little bit. So you will grab hold of those ankles, inner heel to outer heel, chest up, and then where the hamstrings meets the buttocks, you grip and you lift there. And then can you lift up above the support? Can you lift up above the support? So not to rest on the support, but lift up higher than the support. Toenails up to the ceiling, thighs up. That's it. Nice, Sherry. Yeah, that's it. Good. Do 2 times. We have to repeat, right? And what are the effects of repetition? How does the pose evolve? How do we evolve when we repeat? Head up. Yeah, don't let the head drop down. Thoracic spine up. That's it, Jean. Inner heel to outer heel. Nicely done. Okay, that's the way. Yes, good. Everybody's thighs are up. Nicely done. Good. Improvement. Okay, go ahead and rest. Let the sacrum spread. Let the thighs roll inside out. Okay. Let us see. We are going to do a little frontal thigh clinic here today. So let's take, this has been a favorite of mine lately. A little bit of a curious pose. I'm not sure that it has a name, but it's one leg in Virasana, one leg in Marichiasana. So I'm going to show you my setup. You may need to tweak this to your, to customize for you, but it's a supine pose, one I've been spending a bit of time in lately. So I like to, for this one, take a few blankets and stair step them. So stair step formation here with the blankets. And like I said, I'm just showing you what works for me. You can try this and modify and adjust to customize for you. So you're making a platform here to recline on. Now you don't want your head hanging back. So you may want to have a bolster or a block or some extra blankets handy so your head isn't dangling back here. Okay, that's actually probably too much support for me. So I'm going to do like this. And this will all become clear in a moment. Okay, so something along these lines. We'll take the left leg in Virasana. Now I'm placing my sacrum just kind of on the lip of those blankets. So there's sort of a support, but a sloping support. Left leg is in Virasana, right leg is in Marichiasana. And then from here, extend from the frontal thigh to the knee and recline back. Now the tendency here is to sort of fall towards that Marichiasana leg. So if I just kind of let go, there's this collapse. So I'm going to press down with that Marichiasana heel and then extend from the frontal side to the knee. Okay, so get something like this. So you could be even up on a bolster with the pelvis up on a bolster, maybe even 2 bolsters lengthwise. You could work with blankets. You know, maybe for you, you can even lie flat on the floor and it works well for you that way. But we're after this length and this extension in the Virasana thigh, that Virasana hip. So whatever you need to do to make that happen. And then I'm a little bit active in this pose. So one thing I'll say, speaking of that kind of lower back pain that sometimes we get, is if I collapse in the pose, I actually feel an ache in my sacrum. But if I press through my right heel, that Marichiasana leg, and really extend up through that frontal thigh and draw my tailbone and sacrum into the body, then that's eliminated. And then I get a length and a stretch on the frontal thigh. Okay, so this may take a little experimenting, and you know, and sometimes in a class setting, you get an idea and then you have to go back and work with it in your own practice. So if you don't get it exactly right today, don't be discouraged, but if you're interested in working on lengthening out those frontal thighs, this will be a helpful pose for you. So it's worth experimenting with. Okay. Yeah, good. So steer with that right heel and lengthen from that left frontal thigh to the knee. Okay, we've been there for a little bit. Let's change over, change sides. Yeah, and Sherry, for you, I'd be curious about getting your pelvis up a little bit higher on the support. So then you start to take away a little bit of that arc in the lower back and start to draw that sacrum in. So it's sort of like in Supta Virasana, you know, we can do with the buttocks on the floor and then arcing over a support, or we can take with a little something underneath the buttocks, and then that will teach that sacrum and tailbone to come in, and then we'll start to get more access to the length in the frontal groin. So just try that. So now let's change over.
So Greta, should I put more height under there or less? Because I actually just felt good. I didn't feel anything on my frontal thigh.
Yeah. Try getting your try less height and try getting your pelvis up on the support. Yeah.
Okay.
And if that doesn't do it, I mean, you could try doing the pose flat too. It's just for most people, when they try to do it flat, they end up with a really big arch in their low back, you know.
Okay.
But you know, it may work for you to do this pose flat on the floor. That can be the case. All right, and then extend from that right frontal thigh to the knee. Don't let yourself collapse in this pose. Draw the top buttock down away from the lumbar spine. Yeah, and if you're not feeling anything here, if this is like nothing, try doing less support. You could even try flat on the floor and then see what happens. But just like when we do Supta Virasana, you know, if you can do flat on the floor, that's fine, right? But you don't want to do flat on the floor and end up with a big arc in your lumbar spine. That looks good, Liat. Hopefully, does that feel okay for you? Okay, it looks nice. Yeah, it looks like a nice shape where I like that you're really getting a good opening on that frontal groin area. It doesn't look like the buttocks is dropping down. Yeah, and Jean and Marion, that looks good. Hopefully we're all, yeah, that's good, Sherry. And then Sherry, try to get more on your center shin of your Virasana leg, and that's for everybody. So try to get more on that middle shin, center of the top, center top of the foot. Okay, just a little bit longer here. So, you know, this is something maybe to experiment a little bit more in your own practice too. Okay, and then carefully come on out. Good. And let's just get those legs extended straight. Okay, good. All right, moving right along here. Now you're going to take a variation of Ekapada Bakasana. So we worked with Ekapada Bakasana moments ago. Now we're going to work in a little bit more of an intensive way with that pose. So best to have your setup on a sticky mat. You're going to put your chair face down. Now give it a little test here. Make sure that it doesn't, make sure you have your chair positioned in such a way that it's not going to collapse on you. And then, you know, if you only have one sticky mat, you'll see, it'll make sense. I just want you to, I don't want the chair sliding away from you. And then also we want to have padding for the seat of the chair and padding for the bar of the chair. So you could put your chair on a sticky mat and just use a couple of blankets. But if you have an extra sticky mat, you're going to place that over the seat of the chair. So this way my chair won't slide and I'm creating padding, which you'll see why in a moment. And then, yeah, and just have the chair in the middle of the room or in the middle of the mat. Don't have it at the wall. And then you're going to take another blanket over that back bar of the chair. Okay. Now this is a variation of Ekapada Bakasana. So we'll take the right leg back first. You're going to put that right knee on that inner lip of the seat of the chair, and then the right top foot on the bar of the chair. Now, this leg, it's going to be the shin is parallel, right? So if you're working on like Ekapada Rajakapotasana 2, if anybody works on those poses, you know that that heel is actually way far in that pose. But we're working on Bakasana, so that leg is out. The shin is perpendicular. And then from here, you're going to drop on the frontal hippos, draw that top buttock down. And you can hang out here, press that buttock into the heel, work on drawing the outer thigh to the outer hip. And then if that's all going well, you can start to lift that back leg up and then draw that heel in towards the buttock. Okay, so your turn. Go ahead and come on in. Yeah, and so first just hang out here in the upright position. Extend from that frontal thigh to the knee. Draw that, the leg that's out, that left leg, draw the outer knee to the outer hip. And then frontal hip bones up, top buttock down, sacrum and tailbone in. So especially those of us who are quite flexible in the lumbar spine, we have to, steer away from this kind of action, right? But work to keep that top buttock down, sacrum and tailbone in. Okay, and then if this is all going well, you can use those hands. So aren't these arms like Bakasana arms, right? So then you're going to draw those legs of the chair toward you, draw that, you're going to lift the back seat of the chair. That's it. But don't let yourself lean forward to do this. So sacrum in to do this. Yeah. Sacrum in, frontal hips up, draw that heel in toward the buttock. Okay, good. And then change over, change sides. Does anybody not feel that in their front sides? Okay. Yes, I think these quadriceps, these front thighs, I don't know about you, I find that they get very tight. So we need to get after them on a regular basis. Okay, so give yourself a moment to get organized here. That front leg, the shin is perpendicular. The back leg, the heel just touches that like middle outer buttock area. And then have the hands on the upper legs of the chair, draw the shoulders back. So it's like Bakasana, right? It's a variation of Bakasana. All right, and then you can lift that back seat of the chair and then take yourself forward. This may intensify that sensation in the frontal thigh. And keep that sacrum and tailbone in, frontal hips up. Oh, you have a very cute little canine friend there, Jean. So cute. Okay, nice. Yeah, sacrum in, tailbone in. Okay, release. Okay, now this is something you could definitely repeat a couple times, right side, left side, in your own practice, but I want to keep us moving along. So now you're going to come to the wall. We're going to take another variation of Bakasana, Ekapada Bakasana. So you're going to come to the wall, have some padding for your knees. So I suggest having your sticky mat and a blanket at the wall because you're going to kneel. And then kneeling up close to the wall, you're going to bend that right leg. And then just like doing Bakasana, you're going to turn the arm like a Chaturanga Dandasana arm and extend from the frontal thigh to the knee and lift up on the front body. Okay, so Ekapada Bakasana kneeling. This should work a little bit on those shoulders too. So we are highlighting the lower body today, the groin area, frontal thigh area, but this should work on the shoulders too. Now, if this isn't working for your shoulders to turn the arm, you can just hold like this. This works as well with the fingers down. But if you can add that Bakasana hold, then you do that. Okay, so alternatively, you can work just this way and you'll still get that length on the frontal thigh. Good. And then just do a couple times right side, left side, your own timing. Yeah, good. Other way, facing the wall. Yeah. Although we're doing that next. So you're one step ahead. So do a couple times, right side, left side. Good. Okay. Now let's take just one Ustrasana. So since you're already there, we're prepared for Ustrasana. Be close into the wall. Take your hands to the top buttock. Draw the top buttock down. Take the back ribs, middle back ribs in and up. Keep that lumbar spine long. So how do you keep the lumbar spine long? You press into the shins. You draw that top buttock down. Keep the hands on the top buttock. Back ribs in and up. And then from there, arc back, Ustrasana. Outer thighs to the wall, pelvis to the wall, back ribs in and up. Good. Pelvis forward. You can take the hands back to the feet. Yeah, do a couple times. That's it, Marianne. Nice. Yeah, do a couple times. So start by taking the hands to the top buttock, drawing that top buttock down, back ribs in and up. And then you can take the hands to the soles of the feet. Now, alternately, you could just work with this with the hands on the wall too, right? Pelvis forward, outer thighs forward. So you don't have to put the hands on the feet. You could work with the hands on the wall. That's it, Leah. Back ribs in and up. Inner heels to outer heels, like Dhanurasana. Don't let the heels cave in on you. Nice, Sherry. Nice, Marianne. Okay, good. And then come out. Okay. Let's take a quick downward dog just to lengthen things out, flush things out. Let's do heels at the wall, downward dog. Hands to the center of the room, heels at the wall, downward dog. Center back heel at the wall. Mm-hmm. Yeah, press that center heel to the wall. It can be on the heels can be on the floor or not. But what is the effect of having those legs at the wall? What does that do for your pose? Okay, and then go ahead and come on out. Good. Okay. Get two bolsters. If you don't have two bolsters, you can roll up a couple of blankets to replace one of the bolsters. So get two bolsters and then have a couple of blankets. And I'll show you what we're doing. Just have a few blankets handy. Okay, so one bolster is the bottom bolster is going to be lengthwise. You're going to sit on the front end of that bolster. The other bolster you're going to put horizontal ways. And then this is where you're going to have to, again, just, customize per your body. So then you're going to pile up a few blankets. So you can think of this like a variation of Paryankasana, couch pose. The legs are in Virasana. You're going to sit on that front end of the bolster. So sitting on the bottom bolster. And then from here, you're going to arc back. So for this one, the buttocks is down. So it's like Paryankasana, the roots of the thighs down, the buttocks are down. And then you're going to arc over and take the hands overhead. Okay, so get something like this. So I find that two bolsters and then piling a couple blankets over the bolster works well. If you only have one bolster, then you can maybe roll some blankets up for the bottom one. You could throw a pillow even over here. So just work with what you've got. But the shape we're after, I think we all know Paryankasana, couch pose. So the shape we're after is the buttocks is down, the roots of the thighs are down, and then we're arcing up and over. Okay, and then you're sitting on that front end of the bolster. And then, of course, again, we're getting this length of the frontal thighs to the knees. So think about all the poses. What are all the poses where you have frontal thigh to knee extension? You could do a long practice just working on that. Yeah, and then reach those arms overhead. Nice. Okay, this is looking good, folks who are in the pose. So, when we do Supta Virasana, we're going for more of a flat, extended spine. Here, this is more of a Paryankasana shape. So it's a back bend. So we want that spine, that arcing shape of the spine. And then extend from the frontal thigh to the knee. And then can you work with those shins and work with those feet to be more on the center front shin and the center front of the foot? Yeah. Okay, just a little bit longer here. I'm letting everybody get their setup. Now, if at any point this work becomes is not serving you, you can always revert to a Supta Virasana with a lengthwise bolster, or a Supta Swastikasana with a lengthwise bolster. So I'm just putting that out there. Okay, come on up. Use the hands as support. Come on up. Keep the back body moving to the front body as you come up, and extend the legs out. Let's get those legs straightened out since we've had the legs bent for a while. And then with straight legs, you can look at what's next. So now we start to have a little more fun with this. Now I may lose some of you on this, and if that be the case, you can repeat the last pose that we did. So now I'm going to shift these blankets down a little bit. So I'm actually going to put my sacrum on this front end here of the bolster. So I'm going to start to lift my sacrum up is what I'm trying to tell you. So now we're drawing that sacrum into the body more. You're sitting on that front end of the bolster. You may need to pile another blanket on. I have a feeling I'm going to. So we get our Princess and the Pea set up here. And then from here, with that sacrum and pelvis lifted, top buttock down, sacrum in. So this has to come well into the body. Then we start to arc over. And you can hold the elbows and arc back. Watch the legs, watch the feet, watch the shins. So don't let the feet collapse on you. Press the center shin, press the tops of the feet. And now we start to really get this opening through here. Okay, your turn. If this is not for you today, you can repeat what we just did or go to a supine pose with a vertical bolster. But if you're ready to take this next step, then take the next step. And also don't be afraid to adjust the supports. You may need to add a blanket. Yeah, this is looking good. So something to work with. And if not today, you know, something to aim for, right? Sometimes we're not ready for the next step yet, but just knowing what that is, it could be something to aim for. I'm just watching. Yeah, go ahead and hold those elbows. Let the upper arms release down. Let those armpits open. After you've been there for a little while, you can change the clasp. So I don't know about you, but I find that one of the ways I stay interested in my practice is through experimentation. So trying all different ways of working with supports in the back bending poses. And yes, it's of course, that looks really good, Sherry. I hope it feels good. It looks lovely. You're getting a nice smoothness and opening in the frontal body. Yeah. So, you know, so many ways to work with supports in the back bending poses. And of course, it's good to work with unsupported too, if that's available to you. We don't want to feel like we always have to take 2 bolsters and 5 blankets or something to do a back bend, right? But so many different ways to work with these shapes, to chisel away at these poses, highlighting the lower body, highlighting the upper body. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and come on out. All right, I do want to touch on Urdhva. So this will be our last back bending pose today. Now you have choices, and then of course your job is to see now with all this frontal thigh lengthening. You know, for those who work on like Ekapada Rajakapotasana, you can use these poses to help with that, or Kapotasana, you can use these poses to help with that. Today though, I want us to just touch on Urdhva and then notice what were the effects of all this frontal thigh lengthening, all this work on the lower body. How does this translate through to your Urdhva? Okay, so you can decide how you'd like to do this pose. You can do it in the middle of the room. Lately, personally, I've been a fan of taking at least my first couple runs of Urdhva. I like to take blocks, slanted at the wall. This is just nice for the wrists and shoulders. But of course, with all this low body work, hopefully you will pay attention to what's happening in your low body here. Now, when you come up into the pose, heels down, bend the legs first, straighten the elbows, and then you can start to take the thoracic spine to the wall. And then if you have the room, you can lift the hips, keep those hips high, start to walk in, and then buttocks up, heels down. But arms are straight, thoracic spine to the wall, shins up. Okay, So if that's available to you, give it a go, or 2 or 3. Otherwise, you can work with a chair. I'll show a chair setup that I like. So for the chair, you can be near a wall. I like to put a block for the sacrum and then another bolster to arc over. So a block flat for the sacrum, a bolster to arc over, because then you start to build up more of that arcing shape in Urdhvanurasana, right? We don't do Urdhvanurasana with a flat spine. It's a beautiful arc. Sacrum on the block, rather, arc over, knees bent in Urdhvanurasana, and then you can take those arms to the wall. So here's another option. And just holding, hanging out here. Feel this wonderful opening in the front body. And then that block helps to keep that sacrum and tailbone in and up. Okay, I'm watching. Go ahead and this is our, go ahead and go. So this is our peak of our back bending for this morning. That's it. And if you're walking in, that's fine, but that's it. Good. First, be in those legs, get those elbows straight. And then to walk in, you're going to raise the hips up high, raise the heels up high, and then keep those hips up high and walk in one leg at a time. That's it. One leg at a time. Be deliberate with it. Yeah. Elbows straight, elbows straight. Good. Okay, I'm just watching. Yeah, don't throw the head back, but take your thoracic spine and your forehead to the wall. Okay, I'm going to give us just a couple minutes to explore this. That's good, Jean. And then keep the inner legs relaxed. Don't grip your inner thighs. Focus in Urdhvanurasana, middle buttock in, tailbone in, knees and shins up. So shins up, knees towards the elbows. That's it. And then try not to bounce now, but can you steadily walk in? So elbows firm, thoracic spine to the wall. Raise the heels up high to lift your buttocks up. If you can walk in 1 foot at a time. But keep those hips up high when you put the heels down. Thoracic spine and forehead to the wall. One more minute of Urdhvanurasana. Yeah, work with those elbows, Marian. So get those arms, lift up with the forearms. Nice, Sherry. It's really coming along. Okay. When you are complete, when you're baked with this, take Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's do heels at the wall, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So now we're turning it around. Heels at the wall. Nice long pose. Yeah, you can go a little longer, Liat. Really get that back body to lengthen. Yeah, head support, totally fine here. And that's fine, Jean, if you want to keep working with that. Just don't grip the inner groin. So keep those inner legs relaxed. Thighs way back. And now, how is this Adho Mukha Svanasana? All right, Prasarita Padottanasana, hold the outer ankles and then draw the thoracic spine in. So Prasarita Padottanasana, holding the outer ankles. And then draw the back body in. Outer heels down, inner legs up. Relax your abdomen, relax at the base of the skull. What efforts are required? What efforts can you discard? So we could have taken that thigh work, groin work into a number of different back bends. Hopefully you were able, though, to feel any effects of that work and how it acts upon the Urdhvanurasana. How does it inform your Urdhvanurasana? You know, we could have done a spotlight on the shoulders or the thoracic spine or the ribs today. But instead, I chose the lower body. So hopefully you were able to observe what are those ripple over, carryover effects. You know, in Urdhvanurasana, it's like you really want to put the whole thing together. It's that even arc that we're after. Sometimes we have to spotlight the lower body, sometimes the middle body, sometimes the upper body. Okay, come on up. We're taking now a variation of Uttanasana. So be at the wall, have a sticky mat, take your chair. You're going to fold that chair up and then place that chair at the top hip crease. If this bothers you, you can fold a blanket over the seat of the chair, feet wide, and then placing that chair at the top hip crease, buttocks on the wall, come into Uttanasana. Walk the hands down the chair. Relax your head. This should feel very good after back bending. This is one of my favorite recovery poses after back bending. So as much as we need to learn how to prepare ourselves for the back bends, we also need to learn our recovery poses, how to transition out. Allow those hands to slide down the length of the chair. Keep the buttocks on the wall. Another half minute here. Let go of the head. Okay. Good. And then come on up. Okay. Sarvangasana, shoulder stand, you can choose either to do with support, with a chair, or with blankets in the middle of the room. So we'll take Sarvangasana either in the chair or in the middle of the room. If you're doing in the middle of the room, we're going to take Supta Konasana as well. So in that case, have room on either side of you. And then just get set up, go into the pose. So Sarvangasana, just Supta Konasana, and don't wait for me, get set up and go. Now, typically, Sarvangasana comes a little bit more easily after back bending because you've done all that work to take your spine into the body. So notice the connection between the back bends and Sarvangasana. How do the back bends play upon, influence the Sarvangasana? If you're doing it with a chair, I would suggest having some kind of support on the seat of the chair so that your pelvis isn't dipped so far down. So I actually have been taking a big bolster up on the seat of my chair lately. It seems to work well. And I'm not a tall person. A bolster may be too much for some of you, but maybe a couple of blankets piled up would be good. Easy way to do also is to put a bolster down for your shoulders. If you have another chair Sarvangasana set up that you like and you know, you're welcome, of course, to do that. I'm just showing my kind of easy go-to setup so we can get inspired by one another's practices, right? You can pick something up from being in community with one another. And then that pelvis is up, and then the legs stay on the back of the chair. So now, rather than that pelvis dipping down like a Viparita Karani, we can work with the same thread we've been working with today, and that sacrum stays in and up, and the frontal thighs, frontal groin stay open and long. And thoracic spine in, shoulders down. Okay. Good. Yeah, so if you're using the chair, this is good. Start with the legs on the backrest of the chair. If that becomes fatiguing, you can take the legs in Baddha Konasana, which tends to also have a very soothing quality after back bending. Good. And then thoracic spine in and up. Roll the biceps inside out and let the abdomen soften. Let the abdomen be the recipient. So in back bending, there is a lengthening and opening of the front body that has to happen to facilitate those back bends. But it isn't done necessarily by working the front body, but by taking action in the back body to allow that front body to open. So we have parts of the pose that are the actors and then parts that are acted upon, or Prashant language, benefactor, beneficiary. Yeah, in Sarvangasana, elbows down, tailbone in. A little bit longer here. And then we'll take the Supta Konasana, or you can stay in the Baddha Konasana variation. Throat soft. Don't dig the chin in. Take the chest to the chin, throat soft, eyes soft. Careful not to clench the jaw. Keep the inner ears open. Okay, if you're in Sarvangasana, you can keep the elbows down, keep the arms as they are. Take the legs overhead, Halasana, and then widen the feet out, Supta Konasana. If you're in the chair, you can change the position. So, well, maybe you could do Supta Konasana from there. Yeah, I think you could do that in the chair, or you could take Viparita Karani legs. So, yeah, that works. Okay. Good. Okay, now if it's available to you, you can hold on to those big toes and then widen out from the buttock bones to the heels. If that doesn't make sense to your setup, obviously don't do it. So after doing back bends, we want to allow that back body to widen and to extend. We want to create space, length, vertical extension, horizontal spreading. You don't want to go straight to deep twist or deep forward bends, but I'll focus more on an opening and a widening of that back body. Okay, and then let's wrap this up. You can come back to the chair, slide out, or just roll down. Give yourself time to transition out, no rush. And then we'll set up for Shavasana. Now for Shavasana, you've got some options. So it's just a traditional classical Shavasana is fine. You can also keep the calves up on the seat of the chair, keep the buttocks supported. So that's fine as well. So it's almost more like a Viparita Karani, and that's fine. You can take that as your Shavasana. That's a lovely one. Other thoughts are maybe classic Shavasana with thigh support, bolster over the thighs. That works as well. Yeah, and if that arc is too much for you, with the pelvis up, you could just have the spine flat and rest the calves on the seat of the chair. So take a moment to listen to what would be the helpful, most optimal, the optimal Shavasana setup for you. And the one who gives that message is your body. So ask yourself, what is the Shavasana that will serve you? And let your body answer that. And then once you've arranged yourself, gradually, steadily, completely, let go of the actions, let go of the doing. Let yourself rest completely. The endless process is breath, cognitive reflection, corrective reaction, reappraisal, and action. Eventually, this process blends together in such a manner that we discover we have pulled ourselves into the present moment. No past, no future, but action and right perception soldered together in a peerless moment, and then another moment, and another. I'm going to be here for 3 more minutes. I'm going to be quiet, but I'm here. Can you allow yourself to drop into that stillness, that quiet, that state of non-doing? Let go the efforts, let go all the efforts. One more minute here. I'm still here. Allow yourself to savor these final moments in Shavasana. And then you're of course welcome to stay in Shavasana for as long as you need, as long as you'd like. But our time together this morning is coming to a close. So you'll gradually bring yourself out of that Shavasana and keep that softness, that inward looking as you come out. Namaste. All right, that is what I have for you this morning. Thank you, everybody. I had fun as always. Hope you did too. We meet again for this class in January. Of course, I'm teaching every Wednesday as well. Anybody is welcome to join in for that at any time also.
Thank you. It was beautiful. Thank you so much.